This information is collected by Dan Duke from Microdyne Computers. All videos are carefully vetted for accuracy before posting. Okay, let's get into the video. So picture this. You open up your inbox and right there staring back at you is an email from yourself. Or maybe you're getting some pretty annoyed messages from friends or colleagues saying you're bombarding them with shady links for, diet pills or crypto scams. It's incredibly jarring, right? Total panic-inducing moment. Your brain immediately jumps to, oh no, my account is completely compromised. I've been hacked. But take a deep breath. Let's dive into this explainer because what's really going on is actually quite different. And honestly, once you understand it, it's going to save you a ton of stress. What you're actually seeing here is, well, basically a digital magic trick. It's something called email spoofing. Think of it like a magician using misdirection. Spammers use spoofing to pull off an illusion. They forge the sender address on an email so it looks exactly like it's coming from someone you trust, maybe you, a business partner, or a vendor you work with. And why go through the trouble? Simply put, human psychology. We are just way more likely to open an email and, unfortunately, click the stuff inside it if we think we know the person sending it. It's an incredibly clever, albeit totally malicious, trick designed to slip right past spam filters and completely bypass our own natural skepticism. So let's look at the sleight of hand actually making this work. The reality that absolutely shocks most people is that the from line you see in your email app, it can be complete and utter fiction. It is shockingly easy for a spammer to manipulate email headers using super basic software. When an email is fired off, the underlying system doesn't automatically double-check if the person listed in that from field actually sent the message. A spammer can literally just type whatever email address they want into a text box, hit send, and the receiving system just kind of shrugs and accepts it at face value. Wild, right? As you'll see here, the display name, let's say it's your boss's name or even your own name, can be totally divorced from where the email actually originated. You might see a trusted, familiar name in bold right at the top, but it's really just a mask. It's hiding the true, malicious source, which usually contains a dangerous link. That visible address and display name, they are purely cosmetic. They literally have zero technical connection to the actual server on the internet that blasted out that message. To really wrap our heads around this, it helps to compare electronic mail to good old-fashioned snail mail. Think about dropping a physical letter into a mailbox. You write a return address in that top left corner. But let's be real, nothing stops you from writing down your neighbor's address or a celebrity's address or just making something up completely. The post office doesn't ask for your ID to verify the return address, right? They just look at where it's going and drop it off. Well, email works the exact same way. The email server only cares about the destination to route the message. It basically just ignores whether or not the from address is actually legitimate. Now, you might be wondering, how on earth could the global email system be designed with such a massive, glaring loophole? Well, we have to look back at the origins of the internet for that. The underlying systems of the web, specifically the original email protocols like SMTP, were built in a much, much more innocent time. They were built entirely on implicit trust. Back then, internet pioneers were just trying to get data to successfully hop from point A to point B across networks. They weren't really thinking about defending against malicious attackers. Built-in security and sender authentication, they simply weren't part of the original blueprint. All those modern security checks we rely on today had to be bolted on way later. And honestly, they're still implemented pretty unevenly across the web. Which brings us to a bit of a blunt reality check. Because of this massive structural flaw in how email was originally built, there is absolutely nothing you can do to stop this from happening. Let me just repeat that because I know it's a tough pill to swallow, but it's so important for your peace of mind. It is completely impossible to prevent your email address from being spoofed. Period. Spammers run these vast automated networks of infected computers around the globe, pumping out billions of these fake messages every single day. You can't just dive into your settings, check a box, or block a sender to stop some guy halfway across the world from typing your email address into a fake from line. But hey, here is the massive sigh of relief you've been waiting for. This whole illusion, it does not mean you've been hacked, I promise. Spammers do not need access to your account to spoof your address. They just don't. Literally all a cybercriminal needs is your public email address, and they grab those everywhere. They scrape them from public message boards, they buy them in bulk from massive corporate data breaches, or they just harvest them from old forwarded chain emails. Once you're on their list, they just plug your address into their spoofing software. Your passwords, your personal data, and your actual inbox, those are all still entirely safe and locked down on your provider's servers. Now, even though we know spoofing doesn't require a hack, you still probably want to be absolutely 100% sure your account is safe, right? I get it. Luckily, there is one definitive method to verify if a real breach actually occurred, and it takes maybe 10 seconds. Here's what you do. Step 1, open up your email account. Step 2, head straight over to your sent items or sent mail folder. And step 3, just look for that spam message you supposedly sent. It really is that simple. So here's exactly how to read the results. If you check your sent folder and that embarrassing spam message is nowhere to be found, you can officially breathe easy. Your account is completely safe. That email was just a harmless spoof generated on some spammer's server miles away. But on the flip side, if you do see that spam message sitting right there in your sent folder, well, that means the email actually did originate from inside your account. That is literally the only time you should assume a hack has actually happened. If that's the case, you need to immediately change your password and absolutely turn on multi-factor authentication. Okay, so let's say you've checked your sent folder and you've confirmed your account is perfectly secure. What do you do next? Because even though you can't stop the spammers from using your name as a mask, you still have to deal with the real-world headache, right? Like those confused or concerned contacts who think you've suddenly started selling shady weight loss pills. How do we actually handle this gracefully? Really, our best defense against email spoofing is just patience and education. When someone reaches out complaining or asking if you sent them something weird, just use these talking points. First, explain to them that the from line is super easy to fake and that this is a really common internet scam. Next, strongly advise them to just delete the email right away. Emphasize that they should absolutely not click any links or download any attachments no matter what. And finally, reassure them that your account is completely secure and hasn't been compromised. By educating the people around you, you essentially completely strip the spammer's trick of its power. So, bringing this all together, this whole illusion is entirely harmless once you understand how the trick is pulled off. Is email spoofing an incredibly annoying side effect of an aging internet protocol? Oh, absolutely. It's super frustrating to feel like your digital identity is being hijacked. But once you pull back the curtain and realize it's really just a cheap digital magic trick, it totally removes the fear. You haven't been hacked, your data is safe, and now you have the exact knowledge you need to confidently explain what's happening to anyone who asks. Which kind of leaves us with one final provocative thought to chew on. As cyber attacks get more and more sophisticated and heavily driven by AI, how much longer can we actually afford to rely on foundational digital systems that were built entirely on blind trust? This information is brought to you by Microdyne Computer Services. If you enjoy this content, please consider giving it a like, share with someone that may find this information helpful, and subscribe for more. This helps me to know what type of content viewers like you enjoy and also helps my channel grow. Thank you so much for watching.